This is VFL Weekly Wrap for round 15. There's a game on Friday night. Geelong belted up on Frankston by 52 points at Frankston Oval, 15-16, 106 to 8-6-54. Geelong ran away from the last quarter, 6-6 to 1 goal in the last quarter. Geelong smashed Frankston in possessions, inside 50s, hit-outs and clearances. Mitch Nevitt, 30 possessions, 3 goals. George Stevens, 33 possessions, 13 clearances. For Frankston, Trent Minott, 31 possessions, 11 clearances and a goal. There's no doubt that this bloke is going to win the B&F this year, Trent Minott. Geelong have won 9 in a row now. They're still 2.5 games clear top of the ladder. They lead Frankston head-to-head 23-5. Now, Saturday morning at Coburg City Oval, this game got moved from Vic Park to Coburg, a Collingwood home game. Brisbane beat Collingwood by 21 points, 13-10-88 to 8-19-67. Brisbane took 60 more marks. For Collingwood, Lachlan Sullivan, 32 possessions, 11 clearances and a goal. Both teams can't make the final, so who cares? There wouldn't be much people at that ground too, I don't think. Sydney defeated Gold Coast by 40 points at Carrara, 18-12, 120 to 12-8, 80. Now for the Suns, Alex Sexton, 38 possessions, 16 marks. Jared Witts, 20 possessions, 48 hit-outs and a goal. Riley Boyce for Sydney had 35 possessions. Sydney have now won 3 in a row. They're back on track. Suns have lost their last 4. They've had a miserable year. They're on the bottom. Now, there's an 8-point game here. Box Hill beat Tasmania by 5 points in Penguin in Tasmania. 11-10-76 to 10-11-71. Hawks were in front all the way. Now for the Tassie's Devils, Jed Hagan, 22 possessions, 3 goals, 10 tackles. Box Hill have won 5 games this year by under 10 points. Amazing. Princess Park, Carlton beat Richmond by 35 points, 15-12, 102 to 10-7, 6-7. It's Carlton's home ground, but it's a Richmond home game. Carlton 6 goals to 0 in the last quarter. Carlton had 115 more possessions, 20 more inside 50s, 28 more hit-outs, 25 more clearances. They just dominated. Flynn Riley, 43 hit-outs. Richmond lost 4 in a row. They can't make finals. Carlton can still technically make it. Now the game at Point Gellibrand saw Footscray knock off Wheelie by 41 points. 14-17, 101 to 9-6-60. Footscray 7 goals to 1 in the third quarter, and it was a done deal. Now for Williamstown, Jack Greiser, 38 possessions, 11 marks and a goal. Jack Toner, 32 possessions, 12 tackles, 9 clearances. It was a team effort from Footscray. Riley West, 24 possessions, 8 tackles, 8 clearances. Williamstown just holding to their spot in that top 10. Very shaky now. Footscray still alive. But are they too far back? 2 games on Sunday. Now, Port Melbourne knocked off Casey by 18 points at Casey Fields. Good win there. 12-12-84 to 9-12-66. The last quarter is where the game was won. Port Melbourne, 4 goals, 5 to 2 points. Port Melbourne kicked the last 6 goals of the game. Port Melbourne have won 6 games by 18 points or under this year. So they're getting the job done with tenacity and will. Casey have only got 1 more home game left this year. They're not going to play finals now. Port Melbourne looking very good. Now, GWS knocked off Coburg by 2 points in Narrandera in the middle of nowhere. Why they play there, I'll never know. Ridiculous. 8-18-66 to 9-10-64. For Coburg, Jack Vitale again, 32 possessions, 9 clearances and a goal. GWS have now won 3 in a row. Now, the last time these 2 teams met, I actually went to this game. Round 3, 2023 at Coburg. Coburg still haven't beaten GWS. It's 3-0 head-to-head. GWS get away with murder. Coburg can't take a trick. It's the one that got away from them, I think. They had their chances to win. But anyway, now there's 2 games I went to. First one was on Saturday at Chirnside Park. Battle of big boys. Werribee beat Southport by 20 points. 13-13-91 to 10-11-71. 2 goals each in the first quarter. Second quarter was entertaining. 5 goals, 5 to 4-1 for the Sharks. Werribee good third quarter, 5-5 to 2-1. And last quarter, it was a battle of will there. Werribee 2-3 to 1-3. The major goal kickers. Brady Wright again, 5 goals. Anthony Di Pasquale, 2. For the Sharks, Sam Day kicked 3. The possessions, Don Brew, 30 touches, 13 tackles, a goal and 9 clearances. Brady Wright, 5 goals, 3, 10 marks. Ajahn Kwalmun, 39 hitouts, 20 possessions, 8 clearances. For the Sharks, Jacob Dawson again, 43 possessions, 8 tackles, 13 clearances. Zach Foote, 32 possessions, a goal, 9 tackles, 8 clearances. Now, Southport, they stayed with Werribee in that game, but they just couldn't get the job done in the end. They had their chances. Now, after half-time, it was disappointing from the Sharks. Southport, they only kicked 3 goals for after half-time. That wind was blowing towards the city end, probably worth 2 goals at least. Sharks had an excellent second quarter. Werribee dominated the third quarter. We thought 14 points for Werribee. Is it enough? I didn't think it was. I thought 20 points would have been enough. Southport, they kicked the goal in the first minute last quarter, and we thought, hello, they're going to bury Werribee here. They had all the momentum. They were playing well, but they didn't kick a goal after that. And Werribee kicked the last 2 goals. And Werribee had 43 more possessions, 16 more inside 50s. They were in front for 87 minutes, Sharks for 36 minutes. Now, Don Brew was huge in that last quarter. He was the difference. It was 6 points between the two sides, and then Werribee kicked the last 2 goals too. They had the last 4 scoring shots in a game, and Don Brew kicked one of those goals. He was just colossal. He was just getting it out, getting the clearances. He just controlled it. Once again, the Sharks by an opportunity to win the game. Mate, I've got to say this. They were weak in that last quarter. They were mentally weak. They just didn't want any bar of it. When the game got tough, they capitulated again. They just lacked the backbone to win games, especially down here. That's why they haven't won a flag. It's well and good to win easily in the quaffle when you're up against nobody, but you're playing against the big boys now. And that was a disappointing loss for Southport. I thought they played well enough to win that game, but Werribee's tenacity and will was remarkable. They never gave up, and Werribee deserved a win. Amazingly, it's the first time ever Werribee beat the Sharks at home. It was 3-0, but now it's 3-1. Head-to-heads 4-all. Now, Werribee got some good news during the week. Premiership hero Bjorn Malawal, he came back from retirement to play in this game. And also, small forward, Jay Dowhouse, back after a horrendous injury playing for Leopold. I didn't think he'll come back this year, but good to see them back. Mate, excellent crowd. The ground in great condition. It was like a carnival atmosphere. It was a great atmosphere. The crowd were really into it. And this Werribee team's going to take some beating now, I think. Southport, they're not making finals. They just don't have the backbone. They just don't have the hunger or desire to win games. That was disappointing. Werribee won their last 6 now. They're outright second. Sharks have lost 4 out of 5. They're not playing finals. Forget about them. Now, the other game I went to was at Windy Hill. And Essendon upset the Saints by 25 points. 18-8, 116 to 13-13-91. St Kilda 6 goals to 4 in the first quarter. 5 goals each in the second. Essendon 4 goals to 5 behinds in the third quarter. And last quarter, Essendon 5 goals to 2. St Kilda were 11 goals 5 at half time. And then they only kicked 2 goals 8 in the second half. Whilst Essendon kicked 9 goals 5. Major goal kicks for Essendon. McMahon kicked 4. Clark, Gresham, Gelfi and Fernando kicked 2 each. For the Saints, Butler, Campigli, McKenzie 3 each. Richardson kicked 2. The possessions. Elias Sardis 28 possessions and a goal. Jackson Hately 28 possessions. Solomon McKay 25 possessions, 10 marks for the Saints. Paddy Dow 30 possessions, 9 clearances. Hugh Boxall 30 possessions. Mate, St Kilda were 33 points up, 18 minutes in quarter, and then Essendon kicked 13 out of the last 16 goals. At one stage, they kicked 9 in a row. It's the very first time these two teams met in the VFL in 26 years, since the year 2000. Good crowd there. Mate, that Windy Hill surface, I keep harping on about it. That is the best playing surface I've ever been on. I don't care what anyone says. That's ridiculously brilliant. Let me tell you something about St Kilda. In that second half, they showed absolutely nothing. They had no heart, no want, no desire, no urgency. And for some stupid reason, in that second half, they started to go wide. Mate, honestly, Essendon didn't do anything spectacular to win that game. They just wanted it more. It wasn't through skill or tactics or anything. St Kilda were that shit. I'm saying it now. They were garbage. They were absolute garbage. Essendon did nothing to win that game. They're not world beaters. First loss for St Kilda in 7 games. That win for Essendon keeps them alive. They're still in it. I think I've said enough of that game. Anyway, now the goal kickers. Bro McLaughlin, 36. Brady Wright, Corey Ellison, Mitch Bajaski, all 35. Jaden Stevenson, 32. Stuff the rest. Don't worry about them. If you want to subscribe to my channel, KirkGench8878, press the like button. Now, the ladder, Geelong, 12-1. 2.5 games clear of Werribee. They're 9.5 wins Werribee. GWS, 9. Box Hill, 9. I honestly think that will be the top 4. I honestly think they'll finish in that position. Sydney, 8 wins. Port Melbourne, 8 wins. They're in the top 6. Now you've got Tasmania on 7.5 wins. Coburg, 7. Williamstown, 7. Frankston, 7. They're all in the top 10. Coburg, Willie, Frankston are separated by only 3%. Amazing stuff. All standalones. Just outside it, North Melbourne, 6.5 wins. St Kilda, 6.5 wins. Carlton, Southport, Essendon, all 6 wins. Don't write off Footscray, 5, but they're going to have to win out. Casey, they got a shit percentage. Forget about them. They're 5 wins. The rest are garbage. They're done for. Collingwood, Sandringham, 4 wins. Brisbane, mate, Brisbane's gone up to 3rd last now. They've won 2 in a row. They're 3 wins. Richmond, 3. Suns are 2. They've been shit all year. Now, let's look at the round 16 games. Some very interesting games. There are 10 games. 2 teams have the bye. GWS and Southport Sharks. There's a game at Friday afternoon here. This is Collingwood against North Melbourne at Docklands at 3:30. That's obviously before the AFL game. No one cares about that game. It's actually high stakes for North Melbourne, to be honest. They lose that game, they're done. Now, there's only 4 games on Saturday, which is surprising. Tasmania play Gold Coast. Geelong play Richmond. That'll be a belting, I think. Sydney against Williamstown will be interesting. The game I'm definitely going to go to. This is going to be an absolute belter of a match. 2 o'clock at Moorabbin Oval. St Kilda Werribee. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a beauty. Now, there's 5 games on Sunday. Super Sunday. Brisbane play Essendon. Obviously can't go there. Who cares? Footscray Frankston at Whitten Oval. I'm not going to go there because it's going to be one-way traffic. The game I'm going to go to, Coburg City Oval, Coburg Casey. Coburg have to respond. They got to win that. And they should win that. Port Melbourne at home against Sydney. Port Melbourne should win that, but we'll see what happens. Box Hill home against Carlton should be an interesting game. So I'll try and hit those 2 games. Mate, it was another unpredictable, even exciting round of football. This VFL is really starting to warm up now. I'll see you next time.